Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started in a few moments. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us here tonight for our incoming UPK Parent Information session. My name is Michelle Marone. I am the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction. I'm going to let Dr. Lucas and Mrs. Moser introduce themselves at this point.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jessica Lucas. I am the Assistant Superintendent for Special Education and Pupil Services.
Hi, good evening. My name is Karen Moser. I am the Director for Early Learning, Reading, and Homeschooling. We're excited to welcome you here today just to provide an overview for those of you that may be new to Patchogue-Medford or maybe new to just UPK. Our goals today is to provide you a program overview as well as an overview of the registration process. It is a webinar, so there is no live chat feature, but there is the Q&A section or feature available for you. If there's something we mentioned that you're unclear on, or if you just have a follow-up question, feel free to use that Q&A button on your screen to drop that in, and we'll address those questions at the end. First and foremost, we want to make sure that we're clear on who is eligible for UPK. Just to be clear, our district runs a completely grant-funded program. We don't use any of the general funds to support our UPK. So we're really held very strongly to all of the regulations New York State puts out. Otherwise, we're in jeopardy of losing our grant. So this age eligibility is not our determination. It is out of New York State. The child that is attending must be 4. If they are eligible for kindergarten in the school year that they would be attending UPK, they cannot attend UPK. So you may enter as a 3-year-old and turn 4 before December 1st, or you're starting UPK as a 4-year-old. You also, of course, have to live in the Patchogue-Medford School District, and you have to be up to date on any and all immunizations that are required by New York State. We do run 20 classrooms currently for our UPK program. Hours of that program are 9:45 to 2:45. The majority of our classrooms are housed in one of our elementary buildings, but we do partner with the YMCA and Head Start to offer additional classrooms. Those two programs run at slightly different hours. The YMCA has a 9:45 to 2:45 UPK program, but they do offer a before and after care that is at a cost to the parents. It is not a school-less setting, though. It is really just a before and after care like our kindergarten through 5th grade students would have at elementary school. Head Start runs a slightly longer educationally based day from 8:30 to 3 p.m. So that is inclusive of the whole day. And if somebody is making a commitment to Head Start, it would be expected that they attend from 8:30 to 3 p.m. YMCA, it is the option to just go from 9:45 to 2:45 or to opt in and pay for before or after care. We do partner with several agencies to run our in-district programs. We partner with Scope and NIS and Just Kids. Those are the providers we use to get the teachers. And then we are running currently some PMCT-based classrooms. Across all of those providers, though, we're really proud of our play-based learning environment, meaning the students are learning and engaged in fun activities that are really helping them strengthen their learning, their school readiness. So they might be working on cutting and writing their name. You will not necessarily see a lot of worksheets coming home, but the students are certainly doing a lot of learning. They're learning how to take turns and share, and just some of the readiness for school, listening to a full-length story while being amongst their peers. Some of those are hard skills for our students that might not be used to being in a school environment. And so we do focus on a lot of play, but they're certainly getting a lot of education in it as well. This just breaks down a little bit the differences between our, what we're going to call district elementary building locations and then our two offsite locations. So the YMCA, again, those hours for their UPK day is the same as our district, the elementary buildings. The Head Start hours are longer, but YMCA is the only partner we have that is able to offer before and after care. That is at an additional cost that you could reach out to the YMCA. It is the YMCA located down in Patchogue, and they're happy to answer any questions you may have. The Head Start, those additional hours comes at no cost to the families. It's just a longer program, and that it's really meant for the students to attend from 8:30 to 3 p.m. And then any of the programs run out of our district elementary schools are strictly 9:45 to 2:45. There is no before or after care. We are not able to provide that at this time. And there's no transportation provided at any of these locations. That is on the family to provide. Food is one of the other differences we see across some of our locations, just based on some of the logistics of that facility. The YMCA families are expected to provide all the food. At Head Start, on the other hand, all food is provided by Head Start and no outside food is allowed. And then any of the programs run out of our elementary buildings, students are able to take advantage of the free breakfast that is provided to all of our kindergarten through fifth grade, actually all of our PAT-Med students. They can also take advantage of lunch from the cafeteria, but families do have the option of sending their own food in if they prefer. We're just trying to provide all this information so you can make an educated choice in terms of which location might be the most ideal for your family. YMCA is a very coveted position, and we do only run 2 classrooms there. So there's 36 spots that are available. We do a lottery for those spots. Head Start, we are partnering for 1 classroom, so there's 18 spots available there, and then the remaining spots are in our district buildings. I alluded to this just briefly before, but we do run a lottery in terms, and this is how students are selected for our program, if we have more than the number of students we're able to accommodate. This year, we are running a program of 326 students. So if we have more than that registered next year, we would again have to hold a lottery. We are aiming to hold that lottery on March 2nd of 2026. So you must register by February 20th. And Dr. Lucas will get into a minute just what that means to register. But all of your paperwork must be in by February 20th to be included in that lottery. If you are selected into the UPK lottery and are interested in the YMCA or Head Start, we will hold a secondary lottery. So if you're selected in the first lottery, we would need to know by March 13th that you're still interested in your spot. And then we are hoping, our goal is for a Head Start and YMCA lottery on March 20th. Now, Dr. Lucas will go over more of the particulars around the registration process.
So our central registration office is located at Saxton Middle School. It is in the rear of Saxton Middle School in the back. There's parking back there for our families to come to. The QR code here on the screen would take you to the central registration website. On the website, you can find the packet that you will need to fill out prior to coming to your appointment to meet with one of our registration staff. The important part of the packet is that because this is a grant-funded program and it is part of a lottery, we will only be accepting applications that are complete at the time of the appointment. So if someone comes and they don't have all of the necessary requirements, we would be sending them away, letting them know what they need, and then they can always come back with everything and schedule another appointment. We will be starting our registration appointments on the week of January 12th. They do happen throughout the day. Our office is open from 8:30 to 4 o'clock for appointments. However, on Tuesdays, we are open until 5:30 to accept appointments. So this is just what our website looks like. So if you scanned that QR code, or you can go to pmschools.org/central registration, the large bar that says registration appointment is what you would click on. And that would then bring you to a Calendly application that would open up and look like this. And this is just an idea of what January looks like. You would click on the date that you were interested in, select the time slot. This would then ask you to fill out your information with your name, your child's name, your email address, and a cell phone number. One of the nice things about this is similar to some doctor's offices. We'll then send you text message reminders regarding this appointment. So if you're making the appointment now and you may forget that you have the appointment, we will send you text message reminders even up until the day before the appointment, reminding you of that appointment and what you will need to bring. So what do you need to bring for registration? I did talk about that completed registration packet. It is pretty lengthy. So if you want to print it at home, you can, or you can always come to the central registration office to pick one up for universal pre-K. In addition to that, we do need to see an original government issued identification for each student. So that can be a birth certificate, a passport, a baptismal certificate, paternity paperwork. It does have to be original with a raised seal on it so that we know it was certified. We do require physical immunizations dated within 1 year. There are immunization requirements for 4-year-olds to attend public school. We also need proofs of residence. On our website, there is a list of what is a primary and a secondary proof of your residence. It's going to be most likely a bill that's dated within the last 30 days, showing that there's a guardian name on the bill, in addition to the address where you reside. There is then the interest form that Ms. Moser spoke about. And we will need a parent government issued ID. This can be a passport, a driver's license, a non-driver identification, and very important, any custody or court documents. If there's any concerns regarding the custody or the agreements for parents or guardians for their students, we do need to have the originals of those, not photocopies. And again, they need to have that raised seal indicating that it was court ordered by a judge.
Sorry, forgot about the mute. As I mentioned before, there is a secondary lottery for Head Start and YMCA. We do anticipate both of these being of high interest, and so we want to make sure that there's a fair and equitable way that those spots are selected. So once you are selected into UPK first, then we will enter you into the Head Start, YMCA, or both of those lotteries if you're interested. Head Start will be drawn first since it runs a longer program at no additional cost to the family. And then the YMCA lottery will be drawn. Both are anticipated to be held on March 19th. We do want to make you aware that Head Start, as part of their program, does require a home visit prior to the first day. This is just a way that they build relationships and get to know families. It's not looking for anything in particular, but just seeing the student in their home environment. And it's something that's part of the Head Start program. We wanted you to be aware of all of that prior to making any commitment. We did put together an FAQ document that contains a lot of the information we shared tonight. If you scan this QR code, it'll bring you to that FAQ document. And after this presentation, we will also post that on the website under Central Registration, where UPK information can be found. And at this time, we're going to revisit any Q&As we have.
Can you see them or you want me to read them?
So I'm sorry, Ms. Maroon, I could see them.
Okay.
There was a question about people being allowed to choose YMCA if they do not need before or after care. It is an option we afford to all of the families that may be interested. We don't hold a lot of programs down on the south end of our district. We just are limited in size in those buildings. And so for some families, the YMCA is closer, or it's just their location of preference. There was another question about how to know which district you fall into. If you already have a child in the district, we do try to honor homeschooling. So you could call Central Registration and we could, or my office, and we can check your location versus our district boundaries. But in terms of having a child in the district, we do our best when placing our students in UPK to honor homeschool. We actually have a line on the form now to indicate if a child is in the district and maybe not in that homeschool due to placement in a specific program that's only offered in certain buildings. So we do our best to keep families together. We cannot guarantee that though, because our spaces are limited in certain buildings. And so if it's not your homeschool, we try and go to the next closest, just to make it convenient. We understand that families have to do drop off and pick up in multiple buildings.
Ms. Moser, too, if I can add, on the central registration website, there is this place to type in your address. And once you do that, it will indicate if your address is within the boundaries of Patchogue-Medford. And if so, it will let you know what homeschool you would be tied to for elementary, middle, and high school at this time.
And then there was one about twins needing 2 appointments. Do they need 2 appointments, Dr. Lucas?
Yes, if twins can take 2 appointments because it is double the process. So we want to make sure that we allot every family the time they need to make sure all their paperwork is in order and support them. So twins, triplets, the amount of students you're registering, if you can take that many appointment slots, that would be wonderful.
And Ms. Moser, there's also a question about what schools in the district offer UPK.
So this does change from year to year based on the enrollment for kindergarten through 5th grade. I can tell you that currently we are housing programs in every elementary building except for Bay. Bay historically does not have any room to house it, but some of the other buildings, Tremont and Canaan, excuse me, has had it some years and not other years. It really depends on the programs and the enrollment in the building for kindergarten through 5th grade students. But we do try and keep at least 2 classrooms in every elementary building if we can, so that they could buddy up and work together on certain projects if they wanted to, and try and be as equitable as possible across the district. In terms of the why, the swim is not included in the UPK program. The Head Start is the Church Street location, down back behind, right, like the first block south of Main Street down in Patchogue.
I can answer the question regards to if you live with family or don't own. So if you do live with family or you rent, you would require a notarized landlord affidavit. So the primary owner of the home or the landlord would fill that out, attesting to the fact that you do live there. You would also need 2 secondary proofs, such as a utility bill, a cable bill, a cell phone bill with that address and with the guardian's name there as well. And then the next question is, if you have a child registered in the district, do you need to re-enroll for UPK? So yes, UPK is a separate program because it is grant funded. We are required to have an additional registration packet on file with all of the information that you may have provided even originally if your child has an IEP or was registered through the district for evaluations prior to UPK age.
There was a question about opting into the YMCA or Head Start, being selected in the lottery, and then deciding you don't want that spot. That's okay. We just ask for that prompt communication so that what we create is a wait list for those programs. Some families can only accommodate those hours or only want the extended care from YMCA, whatever the case may be. So if you are selected and then decide it's not where you want, we just ask that you let us know so we could move through that wait list as necessary. On the other hand, if you opt into that and you aren't chosen in those lotteries, you do still have a spot in one of our district buildings. So you're still in UPK, you just aren't at one of those locations. And the same thing applies, I should say, to UPK. So if you're selected in the UPK lottery, and you're on Good Faith trying to work out, we understand that things change between that lottery selection in March and perhaps the start of school in September. We just ask that you let us know if you're no longer able to take the spot, whether it's in our elementary buildings or in one of the offsite locations. Dr. Lucas, can you double check the December 6, 2022 birthday would be the following year, correct?
Yes, anything after December 1st.
Right. So you should know for that parent, December 6th, around this time of year is when we do try and put out information about the upcoming lottery and registration and any changes we may be making to that process. So if it doesn't apply to you this year, stay tuned around this time next year. We will be sharing similar information.
There's a question for the YMCA before and after care. Do they take DSS?
That I am not familiar with all the ins and outs with the before and after care. I know there's a question also about the hours. I know they do start as early as 7 a.m. I'm not sure what the last pickup time is, but they are happy to answer any and all questions about potentially incoming parents if you want to give them a call. There has been a lottery every year for the last several years. I think it's been, since we went to a full day, I don't think there's been a year where we don't have a lottery. When it was a half day program, there were some times where if you registered soon enough, you were guaranteed a spot, and it was a wait list later on. As of, 9 years now, it's been a full day program, and it's been a lottery based since.
I think it's important to keep in mind we typically register anywhere between 500 and 550 kindergarten students. So we don't have that many UPK spots. So that's how many students are in our district that would be eligible. So the sooner you register and become eligible for the lottery, the greater chances you would have.
There's no requirements. There's a question about Head Start. This is a UPK program, just we're using a Head Start classroom. So there's no requirements to be included in that. If it's something you're interested in based on the longer hours or the location, or it's just something you're interested in, there's no requirements. It's just where we're housing one of our classrooms.
Is the lottery posted live, or do we receive an email stating that our child was placed?
It is in fact both. We do live stream our lottery. You will see myself and one of my clericals on the video. We send the link. It is held via a webinar like this, so there are no names announced. Everybody is assigned a lottery number. We just announce those numbers. We then contact parents via email within the next day or so, but we post the number and the place in the lottery that it was selected on our website, so that if you're not able to watch it live stream, you can see very quickly if you were selected. We do email and snail mail out acceptance and waitlist letters. We try and get you as quick as we can, because we know that this is something that is going to change what happens come September, whether you're looking for outside placement because you're on the wait list or not. So we do try to honor parents' time and get that information to you as soon as possible. January 12th is when you can start registering, and those appointments are available throughout the week, with Tuesday being the one late night.
I think you already answered this one, but it says if our child can only attend UPK, if we get Head Start or UPK because of parents' work schedules, do we still have to commit to UPK, or did I misunderstand? I don't, go ahead.
So Head Start runs a slightly longer program, but it is a UPK program. I just want to make sure that that's clear. It is a UPK program that runs from 8:30 to 3 p.m. at the Head Start on Church Street in Patchogue. So if you're selected into there, again, you make that commitment. If something changes, or if you're not selected in there and something changes, we just ask that you let us know so that we could make other arrangements for that seat to be filled. So twins are challenging. They do go in our lottery separately. There's no way for us to equitably put twins in together. We would either have to put them in together once, and then you would only have half of your opportunity to get in, or if they're put in twice together, then your chances of getting in are double. So they will go in separately, and that's the way that most districts are handling twins in the lottery selection.
Ms. Moser, though, I do think if both twins are selected, your office does a good job of trying to place them in the same program location whenever there's available spots, though.
Yes, 100%. We would, once selected in the lottery, then it becomes our ability to make those decisions, and we would be able to keep them in the same location. We just can't guarantee both of them selected. There was a question about toileting. Students are not expected to come to UPK fully independent on the toilet. We are able to assist and help them with that. Our goal is that by the time they leave, they're independent. And our goal is that we can work with the families and the students to have that become a reality, so that what's happening in school perhaps could happen at home to build that independence, but they are not, they're still welcome into our program, whether they're independent on the toilet or not.
Ms. Moser, I
Sylvia.
just want to say too, with the registration, although we're starting registration appointments January 12th, those spots are already open. So after this webinar tonight, if anyone wants to go and solidify their spots for the registration, they can do that as early as tonight. Those spots are open and live on our website.
And just to reiterate again, you need to be registered, fully registered, all documents by February 20th, so that we can go through and make sure you're aware of your lottery number and get you that information in order to draw that lottery on a timely basis by March 2nd. So there is a little bit of work on our end post-registration. So I just can't emphasize that enough. Doesn't mean you can't be in UPK. If you don't hit it, you just won't be in the lottery and therefore would not be considered for YMCA or Head Start. We could add you to a wait list if you register after that point, but you would not be included in those outside placement lotteries. Doesn't seem like there's any other questions. We do appreciate your time this evening. We will post that FAQ document on our website. It does have contact information on the website as well for how to get in touch with my office if there's UPK questions, how to get in touch with central registration if there are registration questions. But we hope you found this to be helpful and informative for those of you joining our district. We look forward to partnering with you on your child's education, and we hope you have a great night.